These are assembly instructions to my Octagon diorama on a stand. I'm going to start by assembling the stand. So I have two rectangles with a score line in the middle, and I'm just folding down on that center score line. And then I'm taking both of them and I'm inserting them into the cutout that's in the center of this piece. I've already folded down on all the score lines for this piece. I'm putting glue from the score line to the end on one of them, and then gluing it down to the surface of my piece. And then I'm putting glue on the other half and gluing it down like so. So next I have an image, and I may as well glue it down while my piece is still flat. So I'm just covering it in glue. I'm gluing it down to what will become the front of my piece. Next I'm putting glue on the tab that's on the right of my piece. And then I'm taking the piece with the 3 panels and I'm gluing the very end of it to the score line on my tab. So next I'm putting glue on these 2 tabs, and I'm folding my piece up at those tabs towards the interior, gluing the diagonal cut edge of this piece right along the score line of my tab, and I'm doing that at the back as well. Next I'm putting glue on the next set of tabs at the front and at the back. I'm folding them inwards as well. Cut out at the bottom it permits me to go inside and then just properly position those tabs. I want the cut edge of my piece to be right along the score line of the tab. For my last panel, I'm putting glue on the tabs at the front and at the back, and then the tab that's at the end of my piece as well. I'm folding those side pieces inwards, and I'm tucking that end piece right under the end like so. And then I can go in with my bone folder, and I'm just spreading that glue, making sure that my tabs are exactly where I need them to be. So next I'm going to work on the upper portion. On my left I have a piece with 4 panels and a cutout, and on my right I have a piece with just the 4 panels. So I'm putting glue on that side tab, and I'm just joining my 2 pieces at that tab. I want the cut edge of the piece on my left to be right along the score line of that tab. So next I'm going to flip my piece over, and I'm going to put glue on that other side tab, and then bring my other end over and join my pieces. And then I'm pulling the tabs on the top away from the center of my shape, and all of those tabs at the bottom are going towards the interior of my shape. So next I'm going in with glue, and I'm just putting glue on every single one of those tabs. So next I'm taking my octagon piece and I'm just dropping it into my shape. The points of my octagon are at the score lines of my side panels. So I'm going in with my bone folder and just spreading that glue. The cutout is the bottom of my piece. So next I'm going to decorate the piece that's going to go at the back. I've got a few decorations. I'm just gluing those down, keeping in mind that this is the frame. So I want to position this kind of like it like that. So now that it's decorated, I'm just gluing my panel in. So the cutout is the bottom of my box. So this is the bottom of my image, and I'm just going to glue that in. And there's a small border all the way around. So next I have my images, and I'm going to glue them in. Playing around with my images and trying to position them as best I can. I have these strips. They have score lines on them. I'm just folding down on the score lines. There's a tab at one end. I'm putting glue all over that tab, and then folding down the other end to create these little cubes. So I'm putting glue on one side of the cube and gluing my image to the cube. And then I'm putting glue on the other side and gluing my image down to my box. And then I have other images that I'm going to glue to the perimeter. So I'm basically going to do the same thing, build my little boxes. I'm gluing my little cubes to different parts of the perimeter so that I have images all around. So I've just glued in all my little cube pieces and then glued in my images on top like so. I'm going to take my little podium piece. I'm putting glue all over that top panel, and I'm inserting those 2 flaps inside the cutout that's at the bottom, and then centering the bottom panel on top of the bottom of my pedestal piece. I'm putting glue on both sides of those flaps, and then I'm just pressing them down. They should lay flat against the bottom of my piece. And so next I have a frame piece that I'm going to glue on top. I'm starting at the bottom. I'm putting glue on one side and just gluing my frame right to that piece. And I'm working my way around the shape, just putting glue on those tabs and then just gluing them down to my frame piece. And the edge of my frame piece should go right against the score line of my tabs. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm just doing that all the way around. So next I have a panel that I'm going to glue on to the bottom. I don't need access to this part anymore, so I'm just putting glue all around that opening. And then I have a simple rectangle that fits right on top. So next I have a piece of acetate. I'm removing the protective film on my acetate. I have another frame piece. This is the underside, and I'm just putting double-sided tape all along the underside of this piece. So now that I have double-sided tape all around the perimeter of this piece, I'm just removing the liner. I'm placing my acetate so that it's centered over the opening. I'm just placing a second layer of double-sided tape over the acetate and within my white frame. I'm removing the liner on that second layer of double-sided tape. Now you could use glue here, but it takes a lot longer to dry. You have to make sure that your glue dries completely before moving on to the next steps. And so next I'm just laying my piece down exactly on top of the previous layer. So I have a final piece that I'm going to glue on top of my frame that I've cut out of red craft board. So next I'm assembling the bag or the envelope that goes with it. This is custom made to fit my project. These are the two main pieces of my bag, and I have these two pieces that go at the top of my bag to reinforce where the handles are going to go. I'm putting glue on the underside of my pieces, and I'm just gluing them at the very top of my bag, so the two sets of holes have to be exactly on top of one another. I've already folded on all the score lines for both of my pieces. So I have the piece here that has the cutout, and I have two frame pieces and a piece of acetate, and I'm removing the liner on my piece of acetate. So my two frames are identical, so I'm putting double-sided tape on the underside of one of my frames. Then I'm removing the liner on the double-sided tape, and then I'm layering my acetate over the opening. Then I'm putting another layer of double-sided tape over my acetate just along that white frame. And then I'm removing the backing on my double-sided tape again. So I'm going to lay down my piece with the adhesive slide up, and I'm looking at the right side of my bag, and I'm positioning my piece so that it is as centered as possible over my frame piece. It's not quite perfect here, but that's okay. Next I'm putting glue on the perimeter of my frame piece for the front of my bag, and then I'm positioning it over my other frame piece like so. So I have my front and the back of my bag. I'm putting glue all along the side tab, and I'm gluing the cut edge of my front piece along the score line of my tab, making sure that the top and the score line at the bottom are nice and even. And then I'm flipping my piece over so that I'm looking at the inside of it. I'm folding my front over and putting glue all along that side tab. And then I'm laying it flat and bringing the other end over. I want the cut edge of that piece to be right along the score line, and I want the top and the score lines at the bottom to be even as well. I'm flipping my box over so I'm looking at the bottom of it. I have the two flaps at the bottom. I'm putting glue all over them, and then I'm folding over the flap that's from the back. I want the cut edges of that flap to be right against the score line on both sides. Then I'm putting glue all over that flap that's an extension of the front, and I'm just gluing that over. Again, I want the sides to be right against the score line. And then I'm going in with my bone folder, and I'm just spreading my glue. So for the handles, you can use ribbon, or you could use cardstock. I'm going to use this rope that I got at the dollar store, apparently for $2. I'm cutting two lengths of approximately 16 inches, and I'm threading my end through the hole. I'm going to knot the other end, and I'm purposely fraying it after the knot. So next I'm inserting the other end through the hole, and I'm going to make a knot. A little piece of tape I'm going to just remove, and then I'm fraying the ends, and then pulling my handle taut, and I'm going to do that on the other side as well. So before I cut the other end, I'm going to knot it. And so next I'm just inserting my box in its little holder. So now it's ready to gift.